Uh, Hello and welcome to In the Tunnel, episode 22, which is the second of our short on time days, I guess.
Yep. We're doing this late at night because, well, short on time.
Yep.
Yep. Self-explanatory titles. It's a theme for us. Anyway, let's
So,
just jump straight into it, shall we?
yeah.
My cord got stuck in my foot. All right. Anyway, you want to start fun fact, or you want to start with?
Let's cover football because we kind of just skipped over it last time, even though we didn't really.
All right.
Patriots lost. That's the highlight of the AFC East.
Yep.
Nothing else
Smacked
matters.
by the Titans.
Yep. Steelers are 6-2-1, so they're actually above the Patriots in the standings if the season ends today.
Yep.
Nothing else really matters.
Yep. I mean, the Bengals are crumbling. The Ravens have to start Lamar Jackson or Robert Griffin III.
Yeah. Then Houston 6-3. They're at the top of their division.
Yeah. Tennessee looks not too far behind, and the Colts show signs of life as the Jaguars continue to fall back into the basement.
Right. And also, like, the Titans were the ones to beat the Patriots, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That matters that they're in second place and like one game behind of the Texans.
Exactly. And then Kansas City is 9-1 with the Chargers 7-2, and those are the only two things that matter in that division.
Yeah, the fact that they're behind Kansas City, the Chargers are a really good team that just will not get the recognition because of the fact that they're sitting in second.
Yeah, but also Kansas City had that great start, and where Kansas City has to crumble a little bit, and the Chargers have to keep playing as they do to get the recognition. I feel like.
I mean, Kansas City's yet to have their bye week. Once they have their bye week. If the Chargers keep winning, it's a one-game difference.
Right. I mean...
And it comes down to a tiebreaker because they have to play each other again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm considering that one-game difference. It is a one-game difference right now. They only have one more loss.
Yeah, but the difference is in wins. 7-2, 9-1.
Yeah, I know, but it's bye week, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I wanted to say that earlier. All right.
So, NFC East. Redskins are 6-3. The rest of the division is 4-5 for the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles, and the Giants are 2-7. They actually won a game. Not that it really matters.
Yeah, I mean, hey, unfortunately, you got the Manning that still shows that he's competent. But the fact of the matter is, guys shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah,
if you're gonna tank. I don't understand why this locker room is 8 games into the season is if we win now, we could make the playoffs. It's do you really want to?
I mean, it's not only that, right? Sure.
Do you really want to maybe win one game and then play the Rams if you win that first game? But you don't want to.
Sure,
you just don't.
Hold on. Even making the playoffs is really far-fetched because, sure, I think it's the Giants have the easiest schedule in the NFL to close out the season.
Mm-hmm.
But the Redskins are not far behind.
Well, I just don't know that 9-7 is going to get you into the NFC playoff picture this year.
9-7 could very well win this division.
I don't know.
I said it could.
It could, but you got to show me more out of the Redskins in the second half. You got to give me show me if they're going to slip. Because right now,
it's not even them slipping. Because even if they do win the division, it's not going to be higher than 10-6. I don't think.
I was about to say I'll take 10-6.
It's not 10-6 is the absolute highest I'll go in that division. Okay.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. But I mean, you can't tell me that the Redskins won't lose 2 more games.
Right, but I mean, the Redskins, they've only played, what, 2 division games? They still have 4 to play? 4 to play?
4 to play.
So, as much as, like, they're ahead, the teams in this division have been playing each other really closely, no matter what.
Have they? They played the Giants as one of them,
Yeah,
and I want to say the Cowboys as the other.
I think so. So,
But Philadelphia is on the decline.
right, but what I'm saying is it's still close because they have those 4 division games.
Yeah. It makes it interesting, especially when you have yet to play the Eagles twice.
Right, so that is why technically the Giants could win out and still win, but I mean, I don't see it happening.
Of course not.
All right.
I think they're shooting for the wrong end of the spectrum.
I mean, they'll lose another game and they'll realize it, and then we'll be back where we were.
Yeah.
Okay, so the North, the Bears are 6-3, followed by the Vikings, who just have the tie, and the Packers have 4-1. I think that division is still really close, like we said it would be.
I still don't know why, but I can't take the Packers seriously.
I mean, I don't like the way they've been playing.
The competition
away is just terrible.
Yeah, but the competition too. They're not beating good teams.
I agree, but again, I also say the way they're playing away is terrible. They're 0-4 away.
Yeah, you've said that for a few weeks now.
Yeah, like, how do you do that?
I mean, good on them that the home field advantage
making,
means what it is, but it doesn't mean anything.
But if you go, in this case, you're going to go 7-8-1 if you win all your win out your home games and you lose out your away games, which is looking like they can very possibly do. That's not making it the playoffs.
Not in that division, certainly.
7-1 is not even making it in the playoffs if you manage to flip one game away. Like, no, I just don't see it.
No.
All right. So the South, the Saints are at 8-1, and then the Panthers, who have a shot at the wild card, are at 6-3.
Yeah.
None of the other teams really matter.
No, I mean the Saints are just a wagon, and now with Dez Bryant down, they signed Brandon Marshall. So
yeah, whatever floats their boat, man.
Hey, I picked him up in fantasy last Friday as soon as Dez went down. Like, I was ready for that.
Oh, my.
Depth on the bench.
All right, well,
on the bench.
Then we have the Rams at 9-1, and the Seahawks are now at 4-5, which...
I mean, I guess it's worth noting, but, like...
I mean,
they only have one side of their team, which is like the offensive weapons. They don't have an offensive line. They don't have a defense. Special teams. I mean, they have Janikowski as the kicker, which speaks to like the decline in general. When you bring in like a 43-year-old kicker who couldn't cut it on the Raiders, I don't know. It's just it all just reeks of like this is not supposed to work.
Right. Like I only mention them because we agreed at the beginning that the wild card would come out of the north, south, or west, and the Seahawks are really the hot seat team for keeping that wild card spot, having a chance in the west. Yeah. Because if they lose 2 more games, it's not happening, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's happening regardless. They'd have to win out to make me think that it'll happen.
I don't think they have to win out, but they have to,
they'd have to win out.
Game, in my opinion.
But for me to be convinced that they're a true playoff team and not a fluke. It doesn't matter if
they're a true playoff team. It matters that they're the top 12 or whatever it is. That's all I care about.
I'm talking contender versus pretender.
I don't care about contender versus pretender. Right now, it's you either make the playoffs or you don't. If you made the playoffs, are you a contender or a pretender? But let's just divide the line at make the playoffs and not make the playoffs.
They're not going to make the playoffs.
I say if they I think if they manage to win out, that's the only way, or maybe lose one game in the last. They have 7, so that's almost impossible.
Yeah, I mean, plus, like, you can't tell me that the Seahawks are better than either the Vikings, Packers, or Panthers right now, and me believe it.
Oh no, I'm not gonna say they are, but
it'll make the game.
I think they have a better shot at making the playoffs than the Packers, because I don't think the Packers are making the playoffs anyway.
Well, we'll find out. They play each other.
Is it
Monday
Packers
night?
home or away?
Might be Seahawks home.
I mean, that's literally going to tell you who's going to win at this point.
To the research board. Let's go to the research. Let's see what it says. Seahawks are the home team in the games tomorrow.
Well, the Seahawks basically won it. It's a way for the Packers. They can't play.
You know what? The Seahawks, where they play now, is as close to a neutral ground as the Packers are going to get. With how bad the Seahawks have become, the turnout there probably isn't the same.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not Lambeau. It does not play like Lambeau.
Nothing plays like Lambeau.
That's the point. As much neutral as you get, nothing plays like Lambeau. And
yeah, exactly.
I would not put money on the Packers this game.
All right, sounds good. Sean takes the money line or whatever it is. I don't know how to bet. That's a topic for another time.
I mean, so that covers basically the highlights of the standing.
Yep.
All right, so you want to go over the Steelers?
Yeah, so since I am the Steelers correspondent of this, which basically means I have a Twitter account and access to about 5 minutes per day to just read through whatever drama happens. So yesterday, deadline for Bell to show up, and he didn't. No shocker there.
Yep.
So then I guess, the fun about today is you get to see everybody else on the team's reaction. Like the media comes and goes yesterday before Bell has to report. They did all their interviews, left. I mean, I'm sure they were going to be there to see if Bell showed up, but today you get to see the responses from the rest of the team. So, Roethlisberger meets with the reporters. He says, "Hey, I texted him, said if you want to show up, we'd love to have you. If not, best of luck, And Bell ghosted him. No response. So, I mean, can't say that you really are surprised by it, but at that point, you can say thank you. Like, we all know that you weren't going to show up. Like, send something just to be like
courteous.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Steelers players organization, nobody had contact with Bell all the way up till then. So I don't think they were expecting Ben's going to get a text back from Le'Veon at 2:28 on Tuesday, being like, "Oh, I'm coming in an hour" or anything like that. It's like, no, we all knew how that day was going to go. But after the deadline, send something. Just be like, I appreciate it. I had to do what I had to do. No hard feelings between us, but, this is the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the other part of it was they took down Bell's locker. They took the nameplate off of his locker. I guess the equipment guys were cleaning it out. And then I guess a bunch of the linebackers and other players, they split up some of the stuff. Like there were, never used before Jordan brand cleats. Some players took those. Some players, took some of the other stuff. Bell's locker is gone.
I mean, that's what you expect.
I mean, I was honestly kind of surprised it was there, but
I mean, it has to be there.
I mean, he wasn't on the roster for the.
But I mean, do you really think they just like took his entire locker down?
I mean, how long does it take to put the locker back up?
It's just an inconvenience.
Exactly.
Why do something when I might have to redo it? Why? Even if it's 5 minutes, it's a waste of time.
I guess, but 5 minutes over the course of 11 weeks is kind of like.
But I mean, if I spend the 5 minutes to take it down and he shows up, then I have to spend however much time to put it back up, which is what I don't want to do.
But that comes back to the courtesy, man. Like, if we're going to extend the courtesy to, like, have it there for you, at least give us the courtesy to let us know that we're spending our time wisely here.
I don't know. It's whatever.
I mean, you don't have to give, like, the equipment staff the inside scoop. Just be like, send, like, equipment manager Joe a text on, like, Sunday, just be like, yeah, I'm not coming today. Don't set up my locker.
Why would he do that?
I don't know.
Why would you just leak
good character?
No, that okay.
It's not leaking it if it's on a weekly basis.
I mean, just there's no harm in leaving that locker there. They have more than enough. This is pointless discussion, but
okay. I guess as a fan, I just would have wanted more on a behavior standpoint.
The only thing that you can ask for is he be courteous when somebody reaches out to him after the deadline and say thanks for everything and yada yada. That's fine, but it's a freaking locker. Who cares? It was going to be up there because they wanted him to play at the beginning of the season. They never took it down until now. They actually are sure he's not coming back. So,
hey, I mean, look,
doesn't matter.
All I'm going to say now is I'm sure that was all free stuff to him. I'm sure he paid for absolutely nothing that was in that locker. But I'm glad that it didn't. It's not going to go to waste, and that it's going to be used by other players who are more deserving of it in that locker room.
That's whatever. Again, none of these
people
pay for it.
It doesn't mean anything to Bell. But if you're in the locker room and you're grinding all year, another set of free cleats doesn't hurt either.
Yeah. I just don't see it as you do, but it's whatever.
Hey man, stuff's different out there. Anyway, hockey.
Yeah, I mean, we already went over the standings. They really haven't changed. The Red Wings are at a 7-game curly fry streak or something like that. They're basically 7-1 since they got the curly fry thing. So
yep, and the Penguins suck.
Yeah, the Penguins lost to the Devils twice. Woot.
Yep. Congrats on your, I don't know, I just want to say off night of good goaltending for the Devils.
Actually, the Devils have played the Penguins really well in the past, 4 or 5 seasons.
And that means so much now.
Well, I mean, I'm talking even when, it previously, because either Kincaid or Schneider, last year Kincaid won of the games too, I think, but generally they just play well against the Penguins. They have a positive record over the past, since your Stanley Cup, basically the years of your Stanley Cup runs till now.
Yep.
Which, I mean, it means very little, but I'm just saying.
Exactly. I was about to say,
it
doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything, but it's more of Devils can show up. They happen to against the Penguins more time than not. That's literally all I was saying.
Okay. That's fine. Just show up in those months where they put the word playoffs on the ice.
Yeah, we did last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
but we got some transactions to report.
Well, yeah. So Victor Arvidsson, after 1 game for Nashville, he's back on injured reserve, different injury. Penguins, Jeremy's team, has traded Carl Hagelin to the Kings for Tanner Pearson, where the Pens retain $250K of Hagelin's salary.
I mean, sucks to see Hagelin go, but Rutherford, the GM, he was saying that this was going to happen for a while.
I mean, Hagelin hasn't been having a good time in Pittsburgh.
No, but I mean, when he came in, he was the glue that held some pieces together in 16 and 17. But he brought energy and speed to a team that needed it then, because they were kind of like not really finding their ways. But now that they have like established identity and didn't really need that, the production just wasn't there. And you know, as good of a guy as he is, as far as I know, but it's just that thing of like, if you're not producing. And Rutherford said he has like a bi-weekly show within the organization with the Penguins networks, but he said that like unless they started winning, you know, players are going to be moved. And he said this like 10 days ago. So they've still kept losing since then. So
I have nothing against
people thought that Hagelin was going to be one of the first to go anyway. So
yeah, I have nothing against the trade, and I'm not really surprised. I'm just like, Tanner Pearson hadn't really been doing much for the Kings either. He has like 1 point in 17 games. So you're really hoping that he rebounds on a new team.
Yeah, but he did have 40 points last year. So I think that's the optimism that they see in it.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to get back to that confidence level and, you know, consistency of play. So that's what you're hoping for, which, I mean, you weren't getting much out of Hagelin, so there's not really much to complain about.
But look, Riley Sheahan, when we got him from the Red Wings last year, I mean, granted, he's like a third, fourth line center. But, you know, last year he turned around, you know, being relatively bust in Detroit into being a solid piece in the center depth chart for the Penguins. So it is possible to turn it around, and I'm hopeful. But honestly, it doesn't mean anything if the team can't come together and get some wins.
Yeah. And speaking of Jim Rutherford, the Penguins GM, he had his contract extended until the 21-22 season.
Yeah. I mean, look, the start of this year doesn't mean anything in terms of the work that he's put into the organization.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with that too.
He has long-term goals, and he's shown that when he works towards them and sticks to them, then cup championships are possible. So I don't see why there's a reason to get rid of him now. It would have to take, you know, 2 or 3 letdowns for it to happen.
Right.
They'd have to clean house like they did with Shara.
To be fair, I don't see why they did his extension now rather than, I mean, you could have waited a little bit. There's no problem in that. I'm not saying that he didn't deserve an extension. I'm just saying that it didn't have to be now. It could have been later. You could see exactly what moves you wanted to make and all that instead of doing that. And I mean, I don't have all the answers of what's going on inside the organization, so maybe they already know and whatever. But it's just more of a why now did you extend him instead of like halfway through the season when you see what he's exactly trying to do right now.
I have a single theory, and that is, you know, as I said with the show and Rutherford making it pretty public that, you know, that guys are going to start getting dealt if performance didn't turn around. That's probably the organization's way of saying, hey, we stand behind your decision making to offer the extension now as these transactions start to happen.
Right, but
it's a loyalty thing.
I mean, again, that's just me saying, sure, he's not the problem now, and I don't think any GM is actually the problem. It's just the way they go about fixing the problems is different.
It's the mindset and the approach.
Right, so maybe he has the right idea in his transactions now, but you realize later in the season that maybe it's a instead of extending him to 21-22, you'll give him to 2021 because you still want to look at something. Like, what was the benefit of I understand being behind him now, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, so maybe they know something that I don't, which is quite likely.
I don't know. As far as I know, he was a couple years ago thinking about if he wanted to walk away or one more year. So the fact that he signed 2 extensions since then, I mean, there's something to it for sure.
Right. Yeah, I think any more news?
No, just your fun fact.
Oh yeah, so was it
a near 70,000? Remember how we're wording this.
I mean, you want to go for it then?
No, it's your stat.
So there was a tweet that I don't know, blew up a little bit. That's Gritty got near 70,000 votes for governor of Pennsylvania. And that on hockey subreddit and all these places it blew up until people realized, oh hey, this is actually linked to satire. So when I got to it, it was hilarious. People were like, oh my god, and then they were like, oh wait.
Yeah, that. Yeah, I mean, it has to be fake.
Oh yeah.
There can't be 70,000 people who like Gritty, regardless of political
you're looking
standing.
at Pennsylvania, let's be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, look, there's different allegiances in Pennsylvania too,
and apparently Gritty breaks them all.
Look, man, there's a lot of bridges in Pittsburgh that I feel like Gritty would be thrown off before they voted for him.
Yeah, but I mean, there are more than 70,000 people. I mean, it's completely believable. You're in Philadelphia, one of the major cities in Pennsylvania. So.
I mean, that's true. They did put a statue up of a fake movie character.
So, I mean, it's totally believable. I found this thing hilarious.
What's one more at that point? Stupid city.
Hey, they're part of the same state that your teams are.
Yeah. I mean, based on state borders, yeah, but not really, in theory. Not in the way that they operate.
I'd like to see how your brain is working that theory of how they're not.
Well, my brain's not working at all.
Fair enough. Can't argue with that one.
Thinking is overrated. All right. It's a foolproof theory.
Anyway, so that's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got too.
Yeah, so this actually short edition of Short on Time. Thank you all for listening / watching, whatever you're doing.
Yeah. All right.